But I'm gonna go ahead and go live because we are live now.
Okay.
Yes, we are live now. Hi.
All right. Hello. everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to Mind Your Business Monday. I am your host, Travis.
And I'm Arlita.
And Mind Your Business Monday is brought to you by On Point Alliance, where we provide identity-related solutions through a diversified scope of services, fingerprinting and background screening being our primary services.
Yes, it is.
To learn more, scan the barcode at the top. I always get it mixed up at the top of the screen, or click the link in the bio.
So Mind Your Business Monday was designed to be a compass for business owners looking to grow. So the whole ideal of Mind Your Business Monday is to bring subject matter experts, different business owners to come share strategies, tips, and insight on how to do exactly that. So ultimately, we want you to grow both professionally as well as personally. So again, if you like how that sounds, follow us on all of our social media platforms to stay connected, and do not forget to hit the notification bell so you know when we're going live.
Good deal.
All right.
Do not forget, guys, to like, share, and subscribe. If you have not, go and subscribe. Hit the bell so you can get the notifications when we are live. And again, we appreciate every time you guys do that for us. Let's see if we got somebody here. All right, Brother Mello, he said, I'm here. You
Hey,
always on
brother.
time, bro. And we appreciate you. I'm excited about the future concerning you.
That's right. And I'm excited about this conversation because we're bringing the heat tonight.
All right, Brandy.
Hey,
Welcome
Brandy.
in. Welcome in now.
So we gotta do. I need a drum roll for.
That was good. Don't forget also, guys, once you like and share it, give us a comment. Let us know that you have, and we would so greatly appreciate that.
Yes.
So let's get into this broadcast on tonight. Today we have with us Karena Simon, the CEO of Go Deluxe Financial. And you can
Go Deluxe Financial. Yep. Did you just blast me?
I'm just reading.
Did you just blast me, Karena?
Listen, when you got a script, I'll be leaning and depending on this thing.
Oh, you dirty.
My apologies.
Oh.
CEO of Go Deluxe
Yes.
Financial.
Yeah.
And you can find out more about her at www.godeluxecapital.com. Again, we're going to have her information on the screen as well. But take it from here, Miss Karena. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just one small correction. The website is godeluxefinancial.com. But thank you, guys.
Financial.com.
Yes.
Go Financial. Let me just do that. How
Just
about that?
do it because we prepared for this. It's right here. Go
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
There we go.
There we go. We did all that prepping, and he.
Go Deluxe Financial.
.com.
Business lending brokerage.
Yes.
Tell us about you, Karena, because I'm smiling so hard because I'm so excited you here. I'm so excited about this conversation. But we're gonna let everybody else know what heat you packing. And these nuggets, y'all listen, you need notepads tonight.
Exactly.
You need your pens.
Make sure it works.
Make sure it works because we don't want you to miss anything. Yeah, you can come back and look at it later, but while she's here, you can ask questions. So let's get to it.
Yeah.
So tell us about you and your business.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So again, my name is Karena Simon. So business funding, right? That's my specialty. Business lending, business funding. Go Deluxe Financial is a brokerage where we provide small business lending solutions to business owners like you and I, right, who are in need of whether it be working capital, equipment financing, invoice financing, whatever the solution is, right, for your business, for you to invest back into your business and hopefully scale to higher revenue and higher profits. So I live and breathe business funding, business coaching, and just helping business owners get that access to capital that they need. So.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Well, since we've already been hyping this up as we move towards today, we're going to go ahead and start with some of the questions that we've already received. And number one is, why should business owners even be thinking about business funding?
Absolutely. So a spin I always like to put on that is It's not so much about being able to go out and rack up a bunch of business debt and take out loans as much as it is about positioning yourself to have access to capital.
Yeah.
So business owners, I think, and I believe that all business owners should be working towards or thinking about putting themselves in position to have the access. Sufficient working capital is like a key aspect of any company's financial health. It doesn't matter how great your product is, how great your services are. If you don't have any money to reinvest or to keep that train rolling, right, it's going to be a very short-lived business, no matter how great it is. So, and not having enough working capital, right, can have a serious impact on the future of your business. So I think it's something that all business owners should make sure they're in position to access if and when needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let me ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about business funding,
Mm-hmm.
what would a new business on, well, I won't even say a new business owner, but what would a business owner be thinking about as far as with some of the things that they can use business funding for? Because
Great.
People talk about well, if you get funding, you shouldn't use it for this.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't tell you what you should use it for.
Absolutely. So I think that's a great question. I'm going to answer it in two parts because the onus is on you as the business owner, right? Number one, to make sure that you understand your business model, your business strategy, and what the needs are for your business so that you're not, spending money or spending capital recklessly.
Right.
But some ways in which you can use business funding, it can be, again, for day-to-day operations, working capital. It can be to purchase equipment. Let's just say you have, to put it in perspective, let's just say you have a t-shirt printing business and it's popping, right? You started off on Etsy and it's just moving and the orders are coming and you're realizing, hey, this piece of equipment that I started with that's on my little home desk, my computer desk, I need to scale it up and get something bigger, or we need to put this, piece of equipment in a bigger space or whatever. That funding or access to that funding, right, can pay for your ability to do that, right? To purchase bigger equipment, to cover payroll expenses. It can be a line of credit, right? Pertaining to real estate. It just depends. It just depends on what your business is, but you can use it for so many different reasons. The biggest thing is to make sure that I always recommend that you at least have a business plan. But even if you don't have your business plan mapped out yet, at least have a strategy in place and outline where your money is going and where your money needs to go for a return on your investment.
Wow.
And I want to say something else too. I do think, at which I know what you're talking about, I do think it's interesting for anyone who doesn't have an inside strategic look at someone's business to tell them what they shouldn't spend it on.
Right.
Unless someone is talking reckless. Like if someone's getting business funding and they're trying to go buy Chanel, Gucci, Louis, Fendi products and they're not in a consignment business where that's needed, of course, don't do that. That's irresponsible. But only you and your investors, if applicable, know what that money needs to go toward.
Right.
I'm glad you said it. A lot of people doing a lot of recklessness out in these streets.
Come on now. Okay.
So, a lot of times when people think funding, they primarily go to grants and loans. So what are some different types of business funding options?
Yeah. So, and those are two types of funding, right? So you got grants, you have loans. When we're referencing funding, we could be talking about lines of credit. We could be talking about venture capital. Most, of course, folks know what venture capital is, but if not, just think Shark Tank, right? Where you have a potential investor, someone who's willing to exchange financing for your business for equity, right? They take a piece of equity and they fund your business or finance your business. That's considered business funding. Bootstrapping, raising money amongst family and friends, that's funding your business. That's the act of funding, as well as crowdfunding, angel investors. So it can go in so many different landscapes. It just depends on what works best for your business and what you're looking to achieve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So with that being said, as we explore different funding options, one question that I have and several of my peers, what is the difference between a traditional bank and like an alternative lender, including the benefits with pros and cons?
Got you. So at a high level, the difference between let me start with this. A traditional bank, which most of us know of and probably bank with, that's going to be your Chase, your Wells Fargo, your Bank of America, et cetera, right? So it is not attractive for big banks to fund or to finance or to work with small business owners, no matter what the brochure says, no matter what the pop-up at the bank says, the step and repeat, or the banner stand. It's not as attractive. And how we know that also is the high criteria and the strict criteria that they have that weeds out a lot of everyday small business owners who may not be in the perfect position. Doesn't mean they're not doing well, they're not on a great trajectory, or they won't be successful. But a lot of traditional banks, they want to work with entities that are making that money, that can show and prove very easily that they have the capacity to pay that money back, and sooner than later. So that's a traditional bank. I'll get into pros and cons in a second. Non-traditional or alternative lenders, those are going to be, they look different. It just depends on the product and the company. But those are going to be some of like your online banks that you see, where they have different terms. They're not under the same regulations, right? Depending on the institution, they're not under the same regulations as a traditional bank. They have more flexible options. Their purpose and intention is to service a broader span of everyday small business owners. So some of the distinctions might be an advantage, right? With a traditional bank, maybe the popularity, it's a wide known name. Chase, right? If you have a loan with Chase or Navy Federal, what they're backed by, all of that. However, the credit requirement's going to be pretty high, personal credit. Even if you have your business credit together, that personal credit, you're going to want to be at about a 700. Also, the application process can be a little bit lengthy, and the supporting documentation. So a lot of times they'll want to see, it will vary, but a lot of times they're going to want to see, 2 years of business tax returns. They're going to ideally want you to have been in business at least 2 years. Whereas with an alternative lender, 6 months is like a sweet spot, but you can be in business as short as 3 months. And when I say in business, I do want to be specific, meaning you're a registered entity, you've had your LLC. Gotta say that, because sometimes people I've been making cookies, I've been selling cookies in Walmart for 5 years, I'm getting approved. I'm like, you just got that LLC January 1st.
Gotta be official.
Gotta be a registered entity of the Secretary of State. So traditional banks ideally want you to have been in business 2 years. Alternative lenders, 6 months, again, is a sweet spot. But there are certain products where, as long as you've been in business at least 3 months, we can work something out. Also, advantage on the traditional side would be better interest rates, right? However, better interest rates, but also the credit score requirement is high. The application piece is high. You also are going to have to typically submit profit and loss statements. Sometimes they're going to want to see balance sheets. All those things, right? It's not bad that they're requesting that, but every business owner, as we know, isn't necessarily in a position to provide all of that, or the financials that are represented on those documents don't speak to give me the money that I'm asking for. Yes, Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. So alternative lending solutions, the interest rates are going to be a little higher, but they're also quicker to fund. So you might, submit a business loan application with a bigger bank, traditional bank. And if you're approved, it can take some time to actually get that money that you need. Whereas there's alternative lending solutions that we provide, along with other entities, where we get people funded literally in 48 hours, 72 hours, right? Depending on the product, depending on what that person's need is, even a week. So that works wonders for someone who's needing that capital ASAP to make, a quick injection in their business to turn it around.
So you see how she so modestly, well, we do it too as others out there. We're here to promote Go Deluxe.
That's it. I just wanted to share. I just wanted to
You're so sweet. So listen, say that again, what you can do in the time frame.
Yeah.
It was like
yes.
Say that again.
Yes. So for as far as Go Deluxe Financial, right? We work with a multitude of business owners. It doesn't really matter your business type, even if it's high risk, right? Even if it's a high risk business. Now the options are going to differ, of course, but we work with all different business types. We provide different alternative lending solutions. So whether it's, a term-based loan, whether it's, equipment financing, whether it's a business line of credit, you name it, we pretty much do it, right? That's our focus. We have more flexible options. The application process is literally 2 minutes. Now, I want to go back to something about the credit piece. Credit is always going to be a factor. So I don't want to make it seem like, if your credit score is a 400, get an alternative loan because you may not be approved for that. It's just that it's not as strict. So typically that threshold for alternative lending as it relates to your personal credit score is about a 640. That'll get you in the door. There are some products where if you're a startup and you don't have any revenue, there's some options there for you as well that we have. And then if you are a startup or a small business and you do have some revenue, a sweet spot is 8 to 10,000 a month in revenue. If you're able to just show 3 months of consistent revenue around 8 to 10,000, that will open the door for more alternative options for you.
Wow. And you said 640.
640. Yep. That's usually the threshold. Now, something I also want to point out too is with alternative lending solutions, I want to be a little more granular. So that's an umbrella, right? It could be different types of products under that. There are alternative lenders or alternative banks where they are their entity and, this is their suite of products and you have to fit that mold. We partner with different alternative banks, alternative lenders, funding organizations as well. And so what we're able to do is, I don't want to use the word sell to the funding company, but we're basically able to get our clients in a certain position, tell them what they need to do, and we can package it in a way and present it where they'll consider or be a little bit more lenient because we have a business relationship with them, if that makes sense, versus our client going directly to that source, packaging it how they think is best, and possibly getting denied.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally understandable.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
So if someone is seeking an alternative lending solution, what are some of the things they should have in order?
Great question. So first and foremost, please, and I say this all the time, please have your business checking account open like as soon as you form your LLC, even before, but just have a business checking account and have at least 3 months of some activity. Whether you have big revenue, no revenue, you're doing, you're transferring money over, right? A capital loan transfer from your personal account, however you're funding your business, make sure you have a business checking account and you got some money in it and you can show that, number one. I do recommend you at least have a 640, 650 bare minimum personal credit score, especially if you don't have business credit established. I recommend that. Let's see. Application, again, is really straightforward. If you do have revenue, you just want to be able to approve that, or you want to be able to prove that or showcase that, even if it's unpaid invoices. So there are a lot of alternative lenders that, including us, right, that will accept you just being able to present that you have these invoices, these accounts receivable. This is money that you're anticipating receiving soon. That is pretty much it. Now, some of the criteria, it is going to vary depending on the product, but that's the baseline.
Right. What comes to my mind, do they consider those like the Square business accounts? I don't know what type of institution Square will be considered. But
I follow you, yes. That? So that, let's see. I'm thinking of another one too. Even like another funding type, and I have no problem saying this because it's available to everybody and it's a great option. QuickBooks Capital, right? If you use QuickBooks, I think anybody that uses QuickBooks probably got an email that QuickBooks Capital is available. I mean, they were really on this push the first, Q1 of this year so far. They've been sending out these emails encouraging folks to apply for funding through QuickBooks Capital. That's a resource as well. Sometimes it's PayPal, right? It's a service provider that you're already using, whether it be for your bookkeeping, your taxes, merchant account, however you're using the platform, and they offer funding. Shopify, right? Now, all of these entities have their own criteria. It's not as strict as a traditional bank, but it is their own criteria because it's their money. So those are examples as well of just what we'll call non-traditional or alternative solutions.
But they are banks that alternative lending would consider, as far as with if that's all somebody had was a bank account like that, they would consider that as long as it shows
Got you.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So getting off into establishing our credit, and
Mhm.
we're like, okay, I'm gonna be clean. So folks think they can do something for 2 weeks. It's kind of like going to the gym for 3 days, and then you like, ugh.
So now I feel attacked because that's me. No, I'm just kidding. I did 2 crunches this morning, and this
Right.
muffin is still muffining.
Right.
Yes, me too. That's why I can relate to it. I don't talk say that a friend did it. But
Yeah.
in regards to just cleaning things up,
Mhm.
someone's hearing this conversation, say, you know what, I got to get my stuff in order so
Yeah.
I can position myself
Yeah.
to be eligible for business funding.
Mhm.
How from the time they start before they should even try to apply.
Great
What's a
question.
good window of time to clean out the closet?
Got it. So that's a great question. It depends, and I'll answer it a little more succinctly, but I will start by saying it does depend on their position thus far. Like a lot of business owners will say have their stuff together and check, 9 out of 10 boxes or 8 out of 10 boxes. And it could be something as simple as your business not appearing credible by lender standards. So maybe you need to make sure that you're listed on Google and listed on 411, excuse me. Maybe the NAICS code that you're using for your business is considered high risk, right? It could be certain nuanced things, or it could be someone that's just starting completely from scratch. They just have a business name, a product or service, and a website. So if we're talking like that, you definitely want to make sure that you're establishing and working to build your business credit profile, make sure that you're appearing credible and that you're visible in the online space, whether it's Yelp, Google, 411, et cetera. Make sure that you have a business phone number, a business email. These are all the steps to just establishing your business credit profile. Honestly, it all is in the same thread. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter. It's not scrutinized as much on the alternative side, but this still matters. Having a Gmail email, you just really want to have a business email all the way around. So if it's, Susie at gmail.com, it needs to be Susie at hairextensions.com, right? Whatever your business is.
Right.
Just positioning yourself, which I talk about a lot in my course, but just positioning yourself as a credible business, I would say are the first few steps that you want to take.
So specifically, if a person listening to that, and they have not had they have documentation as far as registration, as far as their next codes and things like that, but their financials have been all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And they don't have business credit, right? So then they go and they say, okay, I hire someone to clean my books up. I go and start establishing business credit this month.
Yeah.
How long should I wait? Because how far back of documentation?
I would say 3 months. 3 months is on the alternative side. A lot of conversation is around the last 3 months. That's what a lot of alternative banks look at.
Okay.
So even if, let's just say there's a particular option that we offer where there is a minimum revenue requirement, we're looking at, have you made that requirement in the last 3 months consistently? So it doesn't matter if, 6 months ago you were making $5, then 15. If in the last if the requirement on this particular option is at least 5,000 a month in revenue, and you can show that through your business banking account, through your business bank statements for just 3 months, that's all we're looking at, that you made 5,000 minimum in those last 3 months, as an example.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and to going back to your question about, when to apply, using that as an example, if there's a revenue requirement, because sometimes there is, because it's an alternative solution. A lot of times people will apply for things prematurely because they had a great month and now they feel ready.
Yeah.
This is my first 5-figure month. Oh my gosh. Like I'm doing the application. I'm in the door.
Yeah.
And then they get denied and their feelings get hurt. And it's not that you're not doing great and that you haven't turned it around and you're not bringing in the numbers, But even though they're alternative lenders, they still want proof they can get their money back. They're just not as strict about what they want to see.
Right.
So 3 months at least, it's kind of that threshold.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with that being said, is a lot of resources showing you how to get like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, different things to establish your
business
credit without your personal credit being run, right? Is that held against you, a person, for going those routes? Because they have all these different credit builders that it can appear you have an auto loan, but technically you don't have an auto loan, right? Or there's different types of credit builders that you can do, and it's sold to you as it will appear that you have like whatever they're grading for a mortgage to prove that your credit mix is good. So there's a lot of different credit builders that will give you the opportunity to establish credit, to work on your credit profile.
Are we talking about personal or business?
As far as business. So if someone chose to utilize those credit builders and take advantage of some of those resources to establish their credit on the personal or business side, in the event they have to have a personal guarantee or something, is it held against you? Is it a stain that you went through a credit builder situation versus a traditional mortgage or a traditional auto loan? Do you understand?
No, if I understand the question correctly, on the alternative side, no. It's very much, these are the basic criteria, like 3 to 5 bullets. If you meet this, we can do business.
Okay.
For this particular type, right? Whether we're talking about just a working capital loan, whether we're talking about equipment financing, it's like, do you meet this credit score? Can you show proof of revenue, or if no revenue, whatever the minimum requirements are. If you can meet that, they're not digging deeper into that. A traditional bank may cover more, right? Because they're looking deeper. They're they fluffing the rug up. They want to see everything under the rug.
Yeah.
We, on the alternative side, we just want to know, did you vacuum it? Is it clean? Do you meet? Right. And then we go from there. So no one's really looking into that any further. No.
Okay. And I asked that question. Go ahead. No,
I was going to say, now, one thing I am thinking about, just in the context of that question, is something just to be mindful of for those out there who may have taken out a business loan already. That can come into play in your, whether it's alternative or traditional lending, because the lender wants to know what existing debt or loans do you already have, because that determines capacity to repay the loan.
So with that, so in that same scenario, I think it's, because I guess it's safe to say the names of some of these, have like a Credit Strong or
that has nothing to do with your funding possibilities at all.
Okay. Okay. I was just wondering, you thinking,
and that's personal credit, but yeah, I got you.
You thinking you're doing something because you're doing your due diligence, taking advantage of what's available. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it just doesn't look all that good because you had to go that route versus
there's secured business credit cards out there. I have a post about it, but there's secured business credit building credit cards for, that's an option for individuals who may need a secured option, the same way as you could have a secured personal credit card. And that's not, you're not dinged for that. That's not looked as unfavorably. Now, if you have a business loan out, and you owe $30,000, and now you're trying to apply for this other loan for $50,000, and your revenue is not showing that you could take care of both payments, that's what they're looking at. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone has any questions, please post them in the comments while we have the expert, the money lady, here to answer these questions for you all.
I want to ask a question on behalf of simpletons, if you will.
Okay.
Is it true or not? Or with alternative funding,
Mm-hmm.
How much of that relies on the person's personal credit?
That's a good question.
Or do they intertwine?
They do. They
Okay.
definitely do. On alternative lending, for sure. Honestly, either way you go, they do. I like to say it, and you probably hear me say this a lot. I like to speak in threshold and as a baseline.
Okay.
Are there going to be nuances and situations depending on either the product type or the company you're working with where certain things don't matter, certain things do? Yes.
Right.
But as a baseline, when we're talking alternative lending, there is a minimum credit score requirement. It's just lower than what a traditional bank would accept.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's a great question. And with our partners as well, we've yet to encounter anyone that doesn't care about credit. I will say now the handful of options out there that really aren't worried about it at all, your revenue has to be talking loud. Like it's this saying where it's like, if you want the focus, and it's still not a guarantee, but if you want the focus to be less and less on credit, or you want to, feel like you want to be able to negotiate something, then your revenue, you have to show you're super cash heavy. Do you know what I mean? Super revenue
Money
heavy.
literally talks.
Yes. And it's the same idea. I don't want to, go off into a rabbit hole, but it's the same idea and concept in this thread, like with real estate, right? And if you're in a position where you have a rather low credit score, but you have $50,000 cash, you can do something. You can make something shake. You're still not going to get the best interest rate, so that's out the window. But if you accept that and you're okay with that, but you're liquid, you have some liquidity, you can make something shake for yourself, right? It's a similar idea depending on the product with alternative lending.
Okay.
Yeah, but I can tell you, like the 400s and things like that, that's just out the window. That's I've yet to see. There still is a bare minimum, but there's a little wiggle room if you have some revenue that's talking.
Okay, so you can't do this for 2 weeks. Get those get a bunch of deletions on your credit. Then I'm ready to boom. Like it's a process.
It's a process. I would just say a nice sweet spot, just again, generally speaking, but even with our partners, a nice sweet spot, 640 is the minimum, but you're really sitting pretty if you can get your score up to like a 660, 670. Anything, of course, above that is great, but that's a nice sweet spot. And then you can provide the last 3 months of, even if it's not a lot of revenue, if there's no revenue requirement, just being able to show, like we have products where we just need you to be able to prove that you've had a business bank account for the last 3 months, even if it's $100 a month coming in there. Now, that may not be an option, a funding option that someone wants to take, but depending on their position, that may be all that we could offer, right? It just depends. Right. Yeah.
So how does the credit profile affect like the overall? So
on alternative lending, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Oh.
No.
Oh,
you still, for the most part, it doesn't. You still want to have it in order because remember, like we said at the beginning, it's about access and options and flexibility. So I never tell someone to not focus on their business credit profile because you're going to use alternative lending solutions. Don't worry about it. You don't know what you might need, because just because we're talking about alternative funding or alternative lending doesn't mean that you still don't need business credit cards. You still don't need a gas card.
Right.
For all of my gas expenses, right? If I'm driving or doing anything business related, I'm using my Shell Fleet Manager card. I'm using my A to B gas card. You know, and yes, I have a revenue in my business, so we're paying that card off. We're not going into debt, but that's still business credit, and that's helping me build and strengthen my business credit profile while you have your SBA loan out or whatever the loan is that you have going on.
Hey, I got a question.
Yeah.
Is there such thing as a business credit max?
What do you mean max?
Like you can go, matter of fact, not just business credit. What about just credit period? Is there such thing as you have reached the top as high as you can be in your credit with the credit score, and there's
a score max, yes, on both sides. But as far as access, no. So there's a score max, yes. On personal credit, It's 300 to 850. That's FICO. 300 to 850. That's the highest score you can get. So if somebody's trying to get big chested and they tell you they got an 870, they lying. They trying to stunt. They doing a lot. Okay. They lying. They probably got a 370. You can talk about an 870. But so that's the cap for personal. On the business credit side, which is a totally different set of rules, it's not under the same, it's not federally regulated. So business credit, that world is not federally regulated in the way that personal credit is at all. That's why it's like so wide for opportunity and people really need to tap in and use it, appropriately, et cetera. On the business credit side, if we're talking about the PAYDEX score, because there's different business credit scoring models, PAYDEX score is 0 to 100. So a good PAYDEX score or a good business credit score is 80 to 100. And business credit, it's more straightforward than personal credit. So your personal credit, there's 5 factors, right? You have payment history, you have credit utilization, credit age, credit mix, and inquiries at different percentages. Okay, with business credit, the bulk of your business credit score, like 90% of it, is based on how you pay your business bills on time, how early. Because in the business credit world, to pay on time is to be just about late. So I will give just a brief synopsis or a brief example. So I'm just going to use one that everybody knows about. That's kind of like diluted now, but Quill, right? So you have an account with Quill, or even better, Sam's Club.
Right.
Because I use Sam. So you have an account with them, and we'll go with Quill, and you order whatever your supplies are off of Quill, because they have a plethora of things you can order. And you're not paying when you place the order, right? You're using your business account. So they're going to invoice you. You spent $200 with Quill, or you ordered $200 worth of supplies with Quill. They send you the invoice. You need to pay that invoice. It's not mandatory. I recommend you pay that invoice within 5 to 10 days from the date that, the invoice was processed. So the sooner the better. If you wait until the due date, sure, you paid on time, but your business credit score will likely be an 80 or on the bottom part of good. Yeah.
Okay.
So the earlier, the better. And I set it up where it's on auto pay. I'm going to have reminders, but any supplier, any order that I make under my business credit with a particular card or account or whichever that I have, it's just a habit for me to knock it out in 7 days. So if I place the order this Monday, it's going to be paid next Monday.
Discipline.
Yeah. Just to keep it consistent. Mm-hmm.
I hope you guys are taking notes, because this here is, you got to pay for this information. It's hard to get someone to really just break it down in layman's terms and to simplify the process, because sometimes when you're thinking funding, it's just so far reach, is this mysterious thing, and you're blindfolded just throwing darts in and hoping you hit something. Nothing, you hit it every time, right? And so tonight, this information is allowing all of us to position ourselves to accomplish our funding goals. We've been talking all month about, all since we came back on January, just refocusing our attention on what the goal is, where we invest our time, and how we're being available and accessible to being pulled 50 different ways to be able to channel that energy in, applying those disciplines to help you get to the next level. Y'all hear her say 3 months. This is not something, you got to go and for a whole year try to come up with this unreachable goal. Yeah, you want to go beyond that, but what she's sharing with us tonight is so obtainable.
It is.
Yes.
For the first time, funding sounds like somebody speaking English to me. You know what I'm saying? And giving some insight on those questions that you really don't have the opportunity to ask someone in the industry. So I'm so appreciative for this conversation
Thank
on
you.
tonight. I'm so appreciative. What do we have? Someone said something?
No, they just Mel said, I'm cooking, but I'm listening. I'm definitely gonna have to rewatch this one. Most definitely, sir. Most definitely. Okay, so I tell you what I'm gonna do. We already got the bottom of the screen reminding you guys to like, share, follow, subscribe. Don't forget to do that because we need those. But I'm gonna go ahead and push you like I like to do, ma'am. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. Okay. All right. So you are a strategist, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So it's tax time.
I'm not a tax strategist.
No, no,
But
no.
I'm
That's
listening.
it. All right. It's tax time, right? So
Yeah.
you got the money,
Mhm.
but homegirl got the credit score.
Okay.
Okay. Can she or should she go that route? And is that something that alternative lenders will do?
Go what route? So you're saying two friends, two people, one person has them cash, one person has the credit score. Are they in business together?
They're
Because that matters. It's all on who are the owners or co-owners on this application.
right on the application. Okay,
Hmm.
so let's go with that scenario. Let's say that they're co-owners, they're workers together.
Hmm.
And then after that, then you can go down there. They're not. They're not. She just want to use girl. She want to use her friend's credit.
Yeah. So yeah, so it really is what's assessed are the individuals on the application.
Okay.
As far as the back end underwriting piece, that's an underwriting part.
Okay.
So if it's me and Arletha and we're in business together and I have a 400 credit score, but I have 20K, right? And she has the 750 credit score, but she got $5. Whatever the case. No, I'm just
Right.
but if we're in business together and we're both on this application, right? That's an underwriting piece on what exactly they're going to assess and pull from, etc. I do believe from with our partners, both parties, if you're listed as co-owners, credit will be factored in. Doesn't mean you'll be canceled out because one person has bad credit, one person has good. Again, though, remember, it depends on the product and the criteria. If there's a revenue minimum and a 3-month bank account requirement and a few other low-hanging fruit things, that's really the core thing they're focused on. And I believe if at least one party meets the credit score requirement, it should be fine. But I couldn't guarantee it because it has to go through underwriting.
That was
Right.
good.
Yeah. That's a good question, though. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Well, because
That
you
makes-
think about it, it happens all the time, and then
Yeah.
like I said, around tax time, people get excited. They
Mhm.
ready to spend their money on stuff. They're ready to try to do something or whatever. So, like as you both have said, this is such valuable information. But
Thank you.
a lot of times with people that we know who don't have a lot of money, but they have the ambition. They need to know that they need to have their LLC. That stuff need to be registered and done the right way. A lot of times they get a bright idea. They hear something like this, say, "Oh, well, I can get so and so to use their credit, and then I'll, you know what I mean." And so I
Right.
know one of the services that we provide for our equipment, they do allow what you call it,
Co-borrowers.
co-signers.
Oh yeah, co-signers. Yeah, we have products with that too. If you have a co-signer, yep.
Right. So that was kind of like a line along the lines of where I was going with that, as far as with alternative.
Got it.
You see what I
So
mean?
I interpret it. I got you. So there's a distinction. I'm
Okay.
glad you said that. Once you said co-signer, I'm following you. So I answered that question thinking you were talking about co-borrowers, joint borrowers, which is different than a co-signer.
Okay.
Co-borrower, well, I mean, I think we all know what that is, but a co-borrower would be both you and Arletha are purchasing a home, you're getting a mortgage, and you're both on that mortgage,
Right.
as co-borrowers and joint owners of the home. Co-signers, I'm trying to get a car, my credit is bad. Travis, look out for your girl. You know what I mean? Let's use your 750. Can you co-sign, right? So I was thinking you were talking about co-borrowers on an application. But yeah, co-signers, absolutely with alternative lending. That's actually common. If your credit score is a little shaky or that might be an issue. then absolutely. If you have a cosigner, you can use one for sure.
And when you're looking at that credit score, are you looking at all three bureaus, or what's the most common one?
That depends on the lender. Honestly. So I don't want to speak. I will say popular would be Equifax and TransUnion. However, that don't mean sleep on your Experian report. It depends on that and that lender. And just to kind of add another caveat to that, I don't want to say that it's not mandated, but a lot of lenders, especially alternative lenders, they have free reign on which credit bureaus or credit reporting agencies they want to look at.
Oh, okay.
There's no requirement that they have to pull. It's not regulated in that way.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So listen, guys, mind your business. Listen, get your bank accounts. Quit trying to do everything on the free subscription plan.
Oh my.
You know what I'm saying? You cannot do everything free and when you're being strategic. No, you don't have to go for these top tier plans and all that, but get yourself on Google, get yourself on Yelp, utilize the free stuff. But some things, if you know that your financials are not in order, you may have to go ahead and invest with someone to get your books organized. So you can be positioned to get funded. You know what I'm saying? So your website, Wix, a whole bunch of these things, they have free ones. However, if whatever is going to help her to talk about credibility, if it doesn't make you credible, you may have to invest a little something. Business on new business on. Sometimes we reach for everything free, and you end up paying more or sacrificing more.
Down the line.
Yeah, down the line, and in this instance, that 3 months, we talking about 3 to 6 months. You see what I'm saying? So you got to factor in what's worth sacrificing. Is it sacrificing some pleasures? Because we spend the money on something, rather than eating out. It's easy to spend $100 on eating out in a week. So now getting that unsecured credit card, which one? The one where you put your deposit. That's the
secured credit card.
That's that same $200 that you
it is. Yeah.
Or go to establish your business credit, going on Quill. Go ahead and order something that same $200. Or you see what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter what's priority for you. Mind your business. Get your things in order so you can get to that next level. You got this. You didn't quit. You're in the top 3% of all business in the world that are still functioning. The pandemic didn't take you out. All of the craziness going on in your family didn't take you out. You going through that little low pressure space of depression didn't take you out, because that fighter in you wouldn't let you quit. So now you just got some valuable information. Yeah, you went and picked up a part-time job, but you keep working on your business. Right. Start doing things and investing that money, reallocating those funds, because sometimes it's not even new money. You just need to reallocate the money that you have. So you're getting the most out of it, getting the best bang for your buck. Okay. So listen, please take something from this podcast on tonight. And you have Karina's information is in our bio. To the link to her website is there. To book your consultation with her, learn more about the services. But listen, y'all, and I say y'all, not you guys, y'all. She done already gave you a list of things. Don't call her asking about this same list of things. Notes tonight. Mind your business and take notes.
Yes.
Okay? She done already positioned you for what her company is looking for, and all other alternative lenders, even the big banks. Okay, so let's be diligent, let's be responsible, let's be accountable, and let's get it right.
Let's get it.
Let's go.
Let's get it. Listen, I like to do this with the guests who come on here. I like to push a little bit. I'm gonna push a little bit more in the last couple of minutes, I guess, that we have.
Okay.
on social media now, I don't care if you're on Instagram or on TikTok, you see all of these commercials and advertisements. Can you give your take on what is the hype? What is the hype of with this whole get your LLC? It's almost like if you get your LLC, you just made it to glory.
Yeah.
You just reached heaven. What is your take on what is the hype with this LLC that's making people think that if I can obtain this LLC, so much stuff is just going to come to me?
That's a great question. So number one is marketing, right? Which I know you know. It's marketing, but it's also capturing and taking a snapshot of the time and era in which we're in right now. Okay. So we're in an era where, and I think history books are going to prove this to be true, where a time mark in our lives is going to be 2020. The pandemic almost like restarted, it stopped and then restarted the world in an expedited way, in a way where we knew, just follow me, we knew, for example, that technology was the future and is the future. And we were already on that trajectory. Pandemic happened or came. And then, not that it's gone, but you know what I mean? It came. And then when the world reopened, it prompted the expedited release of all these new technologies and all these new things because there was a need that was created. In that thread, a lot of people started reevaluating their views around employment and the workforce and their skill sets and how they can use their skill sets to make money, because the shift in the world shook a lot of people up to start thinking about their future in a different way. Right. So as a marketer and as, you know, business entities or whomever that provide these business services, that's like a gold mine. A lot of people started new businesses. Everybody, you know, I'm saying this jokingly, but everybody became a business coach in 2020 and everybody knew everything about business. And not to say there's definitely some folks out there who are legit and who've gone on to do great things and they use that season to just turn their life all the way around in a tremendous way. But I think a lot of these business service companies saw that and captured the moment and are still capturing the moment to provide these services and to like guerrilla market, get your LLC. I think probably one of them, I'm not going to say their name, but I know one of the ones you see in heavy rotation on TikTok and these ads, because I see them. But I just think it's marketing and season the time that we're in. And I think that's also going to always happen with different service lines and different products. There was a season where I literally remember this, maybe 2017, we'll say 2016 to like 2018 heavy. Every ad was a waist trainer and every ad was a teeth whitener. I'm like, Lord, okay, so I need to stretch my waist, my teeth need whitening, like every ad. And it just was a season. Everybody had a tea. And even though it wasn't new, it was a season where people were beginning to look at, and in our communities especially, were beginning to look at health and wellness differently. And people were getting innovative, and then it caught a trend. Yeah. So I think we're just in that season where business services are popping because there's a huge rush of new and aspiring business owners from 2020 onward.
So it would be up to the person who is doing the advertisement if they are just in that, like I said, for the revenue, because that is the trend as far as we encouraging everybody to get their LLC, but they don't offer the know-how as far as what do you do once you have it. And that's what I hear so much people talking about, get your LLC, and it's like, but there's some other things that they need to know. But like you said, when you're marketing, and that's the thing, that's why I be so much excitement. People are like, I got my LLC.
Yeah.
And it's almost
like they graduated high school. I got my diploma. And it's like,
and we know that there's so much more to go to it. With that being the case, follow-up question. Do you, with the services you provide, and maybe you've said this in the beginning, and myself and some other people have missed it, do you offer for your clients a mentorship program where you stay with them after you get them to a certain place where they can.
No, so that's a good question. No, so my company is solely a business lending brokerage. Like if you go to the website right now, there's a pre-qualification app, of course, with all the information to do your research, but there's a pre-qualification app. If you complete that application, it takes a minute. We give you a call within 24 to 48 business hours to kind of learn more about your business needs and see how we can get you some funding. So that's the sole purpose of Go Deluxe Financial. The most mentorship access that I provide just with my lifestyle and capacity would be through my course, Business Credit from Scratch. So that's where all of my business credit students are. And the purpose there, right, is to teach business owners how to build business credit in 90 days, because I did it, right? And then how to get access to 50 to 100K in capital. And I mentor, I go live there bi-weekly. You know, they have more personalized access through that platform.
Okay.
Mentorship is such a commitment, an ongoing commitment. And not that I'll never do it, but it's one of those things where if ever I were to open it up, I just want to make sure I have the full bandwidth to really pour into someone in the way that they need. But Travis, I have a theory on something you said.
Okay.
A theory and a thought. I actually was kind of thinking about something similar earlier this week. Not that it's okay, but I do understand that, not that it's always okay, but I do understand that when you focus your attention on a niched area and that's your focus and you scale that up, you get really good at one thing, even if that one thing is an aspect of a larger thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can do well, you serve others in the capacity that you're focused in. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Okay. And I say that with business services, right? I totally agree. People are pushing get your LLC because they know that it's the entry point. It's the entry point to doing real business.
Right.
That's the entry point. And so why not target that group of people? But it's very niched. They're not responsible for, nor are they taking on the responsibility of paving the rest of the way.
Yeah,
this is true.
I could say the same. And I think that's important for business owners. I could say the same for my course on how to build business credit. I'm going to give you everything that you need, right? To build it, if you choose to, right? Because I can't make you, but I'm going to give you everything you need. I'm going to give you as much advisory and cautionary information as I can, but you are still the owner of your business and you know what your business needs. So I don't really get this often or really at all, but sometimes people might say, well, there should be a section where you're telling people like how to spend their money. Well, that's not a coach or a mentorship platform. That's a whole other service line.
Yeah.
That's like me. Now I'm a financial strategist and planner for your business. So are there some people that want to tackle those different, that whole pathway? Sure. But I don't think there's anything wrong with niching down and just making your main thing. And then you as a business owner are responsible and accountable for learning as you go and getting the information you need from whomever your next resource is for the next step.
And see, that's one of the things I love about you as an individual, as well as a business owner. Your integrity, your transparency is so, like you said, all of these coaches popped up out the sky and they were selling Googled information.
Yes.
Googled
we know it.
information. Or they paid for somebody else's coaching plan and then went and changed some logos and a few words. And so don't have the skill or the bandwidth to deliver. So now you got people disappointed, people feeling scammed, people feeling robbed versus someone like yourself who has taken the time, put in the time in real life, in your personal career.
Yes.
From your career to schooling to all of these things that, like you said, all things funding, that's me, and that's why I'm passionate at, and I can operate in integrity in that space.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So anybody on here needing funding, want to know what's real and want to connect with a company that's going to help you grow and know how to assess your situation and know what you're eligible for. Right? Not just trying to stick you with a loan so they can
exactly.
And and all of that.
And I'll tell somebody in a minute, pump your brakes. You need to go back to the drawing board. I don't recommend you do this. Yeah.
Yes, and won't just let you spend the money
Yeah.
because they have goals.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so this is who she is. This is what she does. I strongly and firmly 10 toes down stand behind her brand. And and I'm excited just to watch this young lady just blossom and move and make power moves. You know, it's just something about it. I love it. You're living your life. You're a great example for young women, you know, and older, just women, period. You know what I'm saying? Because you're light years ahead of a lot of older women who may not have had the opportunities to glean from, you know, I know your mother, and she's a powerhouse, so it's like, duh, it's a no-brainer. But you know, your mama talks so highly of you that you should have been her mama if she did that. So I'm just honored that you took the time to come on our show for the second time. First time you dropped some credit nuggets. Today you came and snatched all of our lives. Funding. And people I know gonna go back and look at this video, this recording, to be able to reach out. And I pray that God just continues to just blow your mind.
Thank you.
Expand your territory and all of these ambitions and goals that you have in place, that all of the resources on the level that you need, you know, needing it to be in the influence that you need to get to that next level is there just because of what you sow into others. So
thank you so much.
That's been a privilege to have you here on tonight.
Thank you both. I appreciate both of you tremendously. Thank you.
All right, ladies, let's give it up for Miss Karena Simon again. Credit educator, owner of Go Deluxe Financial. Again, we do have her information in the description as well. And we've been posting up the website as we went throughout tonight. We are so appreciative for you, young lady. You made me feel smart.
You are. Both of y'all are.
She gave us some hope because it's like we have things that we're working on, and our goal is to be debt free by the end of this year. We've been like diligently working in that area. So I think that's one of the things that's so exciting about this conversation. And you know, we working on personal as well as trying to balance the personal with the business. And for you to come and give some clarity in some areas,
thank you.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so
My
much.
pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes, y'all listen, take advantage of this free information. Because after you make that consultation, it ain't free no more. Okay. You're on the clock.
Listen, it is time to engage, discover, and execute. You've been sitting on it long enough. We've been sitting on it long enough. It's time to actually do something now. We thank you guys for your engaging in us. What Mello said tonight was heavy business. I dig it.
Yes, heavy business.
And we most certainly will keep it coming. This is not the last time we're gonna have Miss Karena with us, guys. We're gonna have her back again because the more information she finds out, the more we can have her back to be able to share with you guys and hopefully get some of you all's testimony that you got up off of yourself and begin to do something and make some things happen. Okay. So again, we thank everybody for watching. We thank you for liking, for sharing. Don't stop sharing it. Subscribe.
And go subscribe to all of her platforms. You'll be able to get that off of her website. Go and just continue to follow and watch her. I know on her Instagram, it's so much knowledge there.
Thank you.
Looking through, I'm like, oh, okay, for real.
You gotta mix entertainment with education to keep folks, listening.
Here we go.
Yep. So thank you so much, guys. A last minute announcements. We got 3 minutes. So the anthology, the link to be part of that project is in the description as well. We've extended the enrollment per your request. We want everybody to be able to get the taxes, take care of their business, and be able to be part of this project. So April 26th, and we've extended the enrollment for that. And then don't forget the fingerprinting boot camp. If you're looking for a low cost startup, and you guys know my personality as well, from A to Z, I'm going to be in there with you 4 weeks, giving you everything that you need to know to start or scale or just add fingerprinting in-house. If you're a trucking company, a medical facility that you have to send your people to get fingerprint on a regular basis, we can save you money, time, and resources by certifying someone in-house
in your
business that your people never have to go back outside of your organization to get fingerprinted again. Okay, and that would cover federal, state, and international purposes. Okay, so click the link, connect with us. You have any questions, reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to go into detail. But all the information is on our website. Okay, I think this was good.
This was great.
Yeah.
Thanks again, lady. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. And remember, people, to
mind your business.
Good night, y'all. We'll see y'all in the next week.